Friends, let's start our today's video by recalling the problem from our last video. So, this was the problem and this was its solution. If you remember, we got the answer as 6 divided by square root of 2, but then we multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by square root of 2 and we made the denominator 2, which is a rational number. Now, why is that we had to further simplify it? Why couldn't we just keep it as 6 divided by square root of 2? Just look at this number 6 by square root of 2 carefully. Now tell me, is this number an irrational number? If yes, how can we represent this number on the number line? We cannot say for sure whether 6 divided by square root of 2 is an irrational number or not, because it's very difficult for us to divide 6 by a number whose digits are neither terminating nor recurring. So, we will try to make the denominator as a rational number, and for this, we use the process of rationalizing the denominator. So, in 6 divided by square root of 2, we have to rationalize the denominator. And how will we do it? We simply multiply both the numerator and the denominator by square root of 2. And doing so, we will get 6 square root of 2 divided by 2, which is nothing but 3 multiplied by square root of 2. Now, we know that 3 root 2 is an irrational number. So, this process is known as rationalizing the denominator. And here, we say that square root of 2 is the rationalizing factor of the denominator. And now, this irrational number 3 multiplied by square root of 2 can be easily represented on the number line with the help of a compass. We know the representation of square root of 2 from our previous videos. And 3 multiplied by square root of 2 will be simply 3 times the length of square root of 2, and so with the help of a compass we can easily represent 3 multiplied by square root of 2 on the number line. Always remember that it's a convention to rationalize the denominator. So, rationalization means to convert the irrational denominator into a rational number by using some arithmetic operations. But remember that you should not change the value of the fraction as well. Now let's try to rationalize the denominator of the fraction 1 divided by square root of 3 plus 2. And now to rationalize this denominator, if we follow the previous method and multiply by the same number, then we will get square root of 3 plus 2 divided by square root of 3 plus 2 whole squared. And we know that square root of 3 plus 2 whole squared is nothing but square root of 3 whole squared plus 2 multiplied by square root of 3 multiplied by 2 plus 2 whole squared, which is nothing but 7 plus 4 root 3. If you observe carefully, 7 plus 4 root 3 is still an irrational number. So, the denominator did not get rationalized. And now, how do we rationalize it? The square root is only on 3 and not on the complete number. So, multiplying by the same number did not work out. Since we have a binomial in the denominator of which 1 is an irrational number, there is only one way I can square the individual terms in the denominator. And that is by using the identity a plus b multiplied by a minus b equals to a squared minus b squared. So, if we multiply by square root of 3 minus 2 in both the numerator and the denominator, we get square root of 3 minus 2 divided by square root of 3 whole squared minus 2 whole squared, which is nothing but square root of 3 minus 2 divided by minus 1, and finally 2 minus square root of 3. See, the denominator got rationalized. So, in this problem, to rationalize the denominator, we multiplied the numerator and the denominator by the number square root of 3 minus 2. And this number is known as the rationalizing factor of the denominator. So, a number which we use for rationalizing the denominator is known as the rationalizing factor of the denominator. Now, let's generalize this. If square root of b is an irrational number, and if the denominator is of the form a plus square root of b, then its rationalizing factor is a minus square root of b. And now, if the denominator is of the form a minus square root of b, then its rationalizing factor will be a plus square root of b. And now, for both square root of a and square root of b being irrational numbers, if the denominator is of the form square root of a plus square root of b, then its rationalizing factor will be square root of a minus square root of b. And if the denominator is of the form square root of a minus square root of b, then its rationalizing factor will be square root of a plus square root of b. So, if the denominator is square root of 3 minus square root of 2, then to rationalize it, we will multiply both the numerator and the denominator by square root of 3 plus square root of 2. And doing so, we will get the denominator as square root of 3 whole squared minus square root of 2 whole squared, which is nothing but 1. So, in this way, we rationalize these irrational numbers. Remember that not all the irrational denominators can be rationalized. For example, we cannot perform rationalization on the fractions having numbers such as pi in their denominators. So friends, I hope you understood the process of rationalization. In our next video, let us solve some problems related to this process of rationalizing the denominator. As of now, let's summarize what we have learned so far. If the denominator of a fraction is an irrational number, then it must be made a rational number if possible. First, square root of a being an irrational number, if the denominator is of the form square root of a, then we have to rationalize it by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by square root of a. If the denominator is of the form square root of a plus square root of b, where at least one of a and b is not a perfect square, then its rationalizing factor will be square root of a minus square root of b. If the denominator is of the form square root of a minus square root of b, where at least one of a and b is not a perfect square, then its rationalizing factor will be square root of a plus square root of b.